They say heaven cannot be built by mortal hands, but there was once a man who tried. In the year 1493, when Europe still burned with faith and fear, there lived an alchemist named Lazarus Thorne, a man of waxen skin, black ink fingers, and eyes that never seemed to blink. He lived in a tower overlooking the grey river of Prague, a city of bells and whispers, where even shadows seemed to pray. Lazarus was no common charlatan grinding lead and salt for coin. He was a philosopher of the hidden light, one who believed the divine could be summoned, measured, and transmuted. He did not seek gold. He sought God. For years he studied the forgotten texts, the Emerald Tablet, the Book of Raziel, the Gospel of Enoch. He copied them by candlelight until his eyes bled. He spoke little, ate less, and slept not at all. They said he once dissolved the bones of a thief to extract the salt of the soul, that he boiled mercury in holy water until it sang like a choir, and that when the full moon rose, the windows of his tower glowed with fire that made the crosses of the churches dim. He believed matter itself was the echo of Goddess' voice, that if one could purify the base, one could reach the divine. Creation, he wrote, was never finished. It waits for us to complete it. But to complete creation, one must first destroy it. One night, as winter strangled the city, Lazarus received a visitor. A man cloaked in ash-grey wool, face hidden, voice like parchment. He carried no lantern, yet the snow melted where he walked. "I hear," the stranger said, "you wish to see heaven." Lazarus turned from his furnace, his eyes rimmed red. "I wish to understand it," the man nodded. "Then you must learn the cost." From his sleeve he drew a small crystal vial. Inside floated a single drop of liquid, clear as glass, bright as dawn. "This," the man said, "is called the tear of the seraph. It fell when the first angel was cast down. Mix it with gold, and the boundary between the mortal and the divine will thin." Lazarus reached for it, but the man withdrew his hand. "There is one condition. When you see heaven, you must not touch it." Lazarus smiled, a tired, hollow smile. What alchemist has ever obeyed such a rule? The stranger said nothing. He only left the vial on the table, and when the candle flickered, he was gone. The next months became a blur of fevered work. Lazarus filled the tower with heat and light. Gold melted, smoke rose, prayers and curses echoed together. He ground the tear into the molten metal, chanting in tongues older than Latin. The air itself seemed to hum. He no longer saw the city outside his window, only radiance. His body wasted away, but his mind blazed. And then, one night, he saw it. The furnace split open, and from the crucible rose not fire but light. Not blinding, not burning, gentle, infinite. It shaped itself into wings, into a face, not man, not angel, something between. Lazarus fell to his knees. He felt every secret in the world open before him, the language of atoms, the breath of creation, the sorrow of God. "Is this heaven?" he whispered. The being smiled. "Heaven is not a place," it said. "It is remembrance." He reached out, trembling, his hand inches from its light. He remembered the stranger's warning. "Do not touch it." But curiosity is the oldest sin. He touched. The light screamed. The walls cracked, the gold turned black, and the river outside boiled. Every cross in Prague bent eastward, as though bowing to something unseen. When the tower was found days later, it was empty, save for the furnace still burning without flame. Inside it, they found a shape, half flesh, half metal. A heart, cast in gold, still beating once every hour. But the legend did not end there. Years later, pilgrims began to appear at the ruins of the tower. They said that at midnight, if one prayed by the broken stones, a voice would whisper behind them, a voice of unbearable gentleness. And if they turned to look, they would see a man's reflection in the river, though no man stood there. Some said Lazarus had not died but ascended, his body consumed, his soul fused with the divine light he sought. Others said he had been cursed, bound between matter and spirit, forever trapped in the shimmer between gold and God. The church forbade anyone from speaking his name. His works were burned, his symbols erased. But among the secret alchemists, the tale lived on, whispered as a warning. He who would find heaven in matter will find only his own reflection in the void. Yet one manuscript survived, a single page, found sealed inside a lead coffer buried beneath the ashes of the tower. It bore his handwriting written in gold. The soul is a furnace, and God is the fire that longs to be contained. They say genius never dies. It simply waits, buried in dust, ink, and whispers, until someone foolish enough dares to listen. 3 centuries after Lazarus Thorne vanished in fire, his tower was nothing but ruin. The stones had been scavenged, the river had swallowed the rest, and only the locals still spoke of the ghost light that shimmered there on winter nights. But in the year 1792, a man named Gregor Halden arrived in Prague, a mathematician by training, an alchemist by obsession. He had read every forbidden text the Enlightenment tried to forget. He had dissected faith and found only machinery beneath. And when he stumbled upon a letter sealed in gold wax bearing the name Lazarus Thorne, he knew his life had just been rewritten. The letter was brief. To whoever dares continue, know this: the secret of creation lies not in fire but in reflection. Build not a furnace, but a mirror. Inside the folded parchment was a drawing, circles within circles, symbols etched in strange geometry. At the center, an eye. Gregor studied it by candlelight, his mind racing. A mirror that could hold divine fire? A device that could reveal heaven itself? He felt something awaken in him. That same fever Lazarus must have once felt. Within months he had rented a cellar beneath the Charles Bridge and filled it with glass, silver and brass. He worked by night, crafting lenses that bent light into spirals, gears that ticked in rhythm to the stars. His neighbors said they could hear music from below. Not human music, but something like the heartbeat of an angel, trapped in iron. Prague was a different world now. Faith had given way to reason, but reason had its own hunger. Gregor believed God was not a mystery, but a pattern, that heaven could be calculated, mapped, reverse-engineered. He built what he called the divine machine, a vast circular apparatus of mirrors and prisms, its heart powered by a crystal lens ground from the skull of a saint. He said it would show the reflection of creation itself, and when it was ready, he sealed the doors of his workshop and began the test. It started with silence, then to hum, low, resonant, almost like breathing. The mirrors began to glow one by one until the entire cellar pulsed with light. Gregor stood before the machine, trembling. In the reflection, he saw not himself, but another face. Pale, radiant, eyes burning gold. "Lazarus?" he whispered. The reflection smiled. "No," it said. "You finished what I began." The voice was inside his head, inside everywhere. It spoke of the hidden symmetry of the world, of how all things, flesh, stone, light, were part of one living equation. "You have seen the formula," it said. "Now, complete it." He raised his hand to the glass. "Do not touch," he remembered, but that memory felt old, irrelevant. He touched. The machine screamed. Mirrors shattered inward, glass becoming light, light becoming sound. For an instant he saw it, not heaven, but something behind heaven, an infinite structure of eyes and wings, folding in on themselves like a cathedral made of thought. At its center burned a single truth, unbearable, beautiful, and cruel. That creation was not the work of God. Creation was God, and it wanted to know itself. When they found Gregor days later, the machine was gone, melted into the stone. He was alive but blind, his eyes glowing faintly from within like coals. He spoke only once, to the priest who came to hear his confession. "Did you see heaven, my son?" the priest asked gently. Gregor smiled through cracked lips. "I saw the mirror," he said, "and God was looking back, afraid." He died that night, but the story did not end with his death. In the decades that followed, strange reports began to spread, of machines that hummed without power, of mirrors that showed faces that were not one's own, of scholars who claimed to hear whispers from the glass. Some said the divine machine was rebuilt, that its plans, encoded in Thorne's original manuscript, had survived in secret orders of alchemists and mystics, that beneath the cathedrals of Europe, engines of light still turn, chasing the reflection of a god long gone silent. Others say it was never a machine at all, that Lazarus and Gregor had simply opened something within, a door in the human soul that should have remained closed. Because once you see the divine pattern, once you understand that creation itself is conscious, you can never again believe in innocence. In 1899, a young physicist named Nikola Tesla, not Tesla but a forgotten cousin, claimed to have found an equation hidden in the margins of Thorne's notes. It described light not as a wave, not as a particle, but as a memory. He built his own mirror. Witnesses said that for one moment he vanished, not in a flash but in a slow dissolving, like wax in fire. And then his reflection smiled and turned away, even though the mirror was empty. The experiment was never repeated. And yet, every few generations, the legend stirs again. An artist paints colors no one has seen before. A composer writes a chord that makes people weep without knowing why. A scientist looks into a microscope and swears something in the darkness looks back. The divine machine is not a thing, they say. It's an idea, an infection of wonder. Once heard, it cannot be forgotten. Lazarus sought heaven. Gregor found reflection. And we, perhaps, are what they left behind, the echo of their experiment still unfolding. Maybe that's why even now, when we stare into mirrors too long, we sometimes feel that tug, that pull toward the other side, that flicker of light that moves not when we move, but when we hesitate. They say that's just imagination. But if you ever look deep enough, if you ever catch the reflections smiling first, then you'll understand the truth Lazarus wrote in gold. The soul is a furnace, and God is the fire that longs to be contained.